Good morning. How are you? I'm not quite sure if you can hear me very well. Um, so I was writing a blog post this morning and it was about mermaids and it sort of like to resurface quite a bit of ideas that I had about a few years ago. And I had been toiling with that, I guess toying or toiling with that idea of having a reality show that was about mermaids, right? I think I remember telling you guys this, and I had done a video on my YouTube channel about it, that my reality show went bust, right? I think I told you all that about exactly what happened, and I believe I would have to go back and look at it. Anyway, the point is that my idea was, and this was back several years ago, and then all the way back until 2014, that I wanted to start this basically like a sort of documentary, about a mermaid. And so my concept was several women that were mermaid performers, right? Like not just the ones that didn't do anything with it. I wanted like legitimate women that had spent their lives as a career of being a mermaid, right? And so like there was different ones that I had chosen, and I had talked to them all on the telephone. Every one of them was very much game for it except for one, which was fine. I understand that not everyone wants to do it. Also, I think when you're coming from a place of like when I was coming from a place of no, maybe as what I'm thinking vibrationally is what was happening, that you're going to get no's, or you're going to get women that are going to say no, or even people that would normally want to back you on a project. But if you're not aligned with it, it's not going to happen, right? Or you're going to align with it if you're in that vibrational atmosphere of the same type of people. So what I'm saying is perhaps I was in not the vibrational on the vibrational disc that I would like to have been on, which I am on now, because I have had such a, ebb and flow of things that had happened in the last year, which is understandable. I lost Sawyer, and so that kind of put so many things on the back burner, and which is understandable. But then I started thinking about my dreams of having the reality show, and not the reality show of like what you're normally used to. I used to say this particular thing, and this was in my proposal and such, like when I told you that Whitney from Southern Charm. Well, I was able to begin communicating with his mother. Hold on just a second, you guys. Anyway, I hope that we continued on where we were. Anyway, I was talking to Whitney. I can't remember. I think it's Allsholt or something like that. I'm not quite sure what her name is. Oh, it's flogging my mind. But yeah, Patricia, I know you guys probably remember who she is on Southern Charm, right? And so we know that like the executive producer, I believe, was Whitney. And so what happened was I was able to connect with her on a personal basis, and was kind of going through these ideas and throwing this idea with her. So we had plans. Whitney was going to come to Tampa to see his father, because his father lives in somewhere in Florida, and I'm not quite sure where, but anyway, we were going to have a visit. And so I was going to propose this idea about this reality show, and I thought it's a bloody genius idea. I know it is, but anyway, so I think what happened afterwards is that I was sort of ghosted, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, she no longer like was answering my, text messages or anything. And I wasn't being like a psychotic freak or nothing, because listen, I mean, my ex ill-suited mate was in entertainment, so I understand this. Like, there's discretion and what's and whatnot, you know. Like, I've worked for, you know, high profile people before, and so I'm not like a loony bin, you know what I mean? Like, if I were to see a celebrity or anything like that, I'd just be like, yeah, hey, are you good? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not fascinated by, you know, celebrity. But the reason that I want the celebrities are because obviously they have a viewing, or they have that sense of getting the message out. But then I long realized I don't really need anyone else to get my message out, because I'm just as powerful too, in a different way, right? Where the world is mostly focused on, I'm like digi dodgy because, listen, the light is very bright. It's early morning. And I thought, you know, I'm going to just do this off the cuff like I do with my YouTube, not my YouTube. Well, yeah, well, I used to do my YouTube, but like also my podcast, you know, like I just do it off the cuff, and so that's how I feel like I'm most genuine. Um, so anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, what I was saying is, so yeah, I used to think that I had to seek those things outside of myself. So, like, what's the better person to want to share a story about, like, understanding authenticity and learning the value of their own selves, besides someone that's gone through it, right? Yeah, because I started thinking about that time several years ago when Gary Vaynerchuk was like sent me books, but like, his New York Times bestseller, and so I was like, oh God, I really love that book. I highlighted it, and I was very much like a part of his little tribe, you know what? And so, but over time, you know, you learn to gain your own footing, and so yeah, I don't really need that anymore. But I think, you know, it kind of takes you to the next vehicle, and which is lovely, you know. But anyway, so I've always sought outside myself to feel validation, in a sense that, like, if I'm going to have something, and it stems from my sense of being young, with that lacking of having always wanting someone to rescue me. And I know I've talked about this on my blog quite a bit, and I've also talked about it on my YouTube channel, about how, like, most often, like, people like me, like, I can recognize myself in that, because um I have always longed to be rescued. You know, there's rescuers and there's takers. And so, like, I'm very much a rescuer. I've found, like, as a child, that I wanted to be rescued, which now, understandably, because I'm very smart in, like, the law of attraction and Abraham Hicks teachings and such, I don't need that. You know, I rescue myself. And so, anyway, but before that, that is exactly what was happening, because I was like, oh God, I need someone to come in and rescue me. Someone come in and pick up this show, because I need you to get me to where I am. And so what better person to talk about something like that, and then the actual person that is, you know, you're experiencing it for yourself. So I thought, you know, this was my idea. And so back a few years ago, I'm sure, like, no one's caring, like, oh yeah, mermaids are great, wonderful, whatever. But I said, no, like, what is a mermaid like as a real life performer? As a mermaid, what does she go through? You know, because I mean, you're going to end up having to be a bygone mermaid, because you're not always going to, I mean, let's be for real here, like, it's folklore, you know what I mean? Like, you're not really living till you're 350 years old. I mean, are you? No. And so what happens when a woman has spent her life in that kind of career, excuse me, but then age is coming about her, you know what I mean? Like, I'm almost 50, and I see other women, like, they're close to my age, and it's like, you can't be doing, I mean, I guess you could be doing it if you want to be 70 and be like, you know, posing at mermaid tail, but I just think it's a little bloody ridiculous. I think it looks corny. No, I mean, to me, like, I'm not doing it, you know? I mean, I could fully well get in the same mermaid tail, but I'm not fucking doing it, because just like, I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like, I've been doing it for so long, like since 17. I'm done with that. Like, I want to transition into, like, my transformation is continuing. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm over that. Anyway, so I thought it would be interesting to have like a talk show, not a talk show, but like a reality show that's positive, that's uplifting, that's like, how do these women live? Like, I know not everyone lives like law of attraction like me or whatnot, but people that are mermaids, performers, or whatever, and spend their lives doing that, most often they're very much in tune with themselves. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I perceive most mermaids to be. They're pretty much like following the bliss, and they're following the dreams of being a mermaid. And so you have to have some form of like great sense of confidence in yourself, you know, to be able to do that for long term. You know what I mean? Like, not like just you know, you ordered a tail from, you know, one of these mermaid companies and they made it and mailed it to you, and now you're like, you know, willy-nilly, and you're posing for photographs and such, but you're not really doing it for like the internal reasons of long term, like sharing your message of what it's about. These women that I picked, does that sound right, or do I need to practice that on my British? But like, these women that I picked specifically are women that had like a long-term career, or have presently a long-term career. And what happens during their normal life, like on an everyday basis, and when they're transforming into like becoming a bygone mermaid. And so I think that that's a beautiful way of having this lovely message, you know, and it's what the world needs. And I often think sometimes the world doesn't know what they need. I mean, for all these people that are dreamers, or like Walt Disney, or all these people that like really made a name for themselves, or for what they stood for, what the message was, that they followed their dreams, and they also were brave enough to not take no for an answer. You know what I mean? Like, most people do that. Like, they would just go and hide under a rock and something, and never like delve into those particular desires or dreams any longer. But nonetheless, they're still there. They just don't have the tenacity to keep going because they've gotten a no, which I've completely flipped that on its tail, and I thrive on the answer of no, because it's like, watch me. I'm going to show you that I can do it. You know what I mean? And so that is what I've thrived on. So I thought, you know, okay, Patricia, okay, Whitney, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do it now, and that's okay. You know, I understand. Everyone has their own free will. I get it. You're not as invested as I am, because it's my life. No one is ever really going to be, you know, an advocate for you as you are for yourself. So if you want something done, if you want to write that book because you haven't been able to find a book like that you enjoy, write the damn book. You know what I mean? Stop waiting for someone else to write it. You want a reality show? Make the damn reality show, Raquel. You know, like, I feel very much like that. There's a particular thing that you want in life and you don't see it. Make it. There's a song or a genre of music that you have yet to see. Write that type of music. I mean, create it. That is what we're all doing. We're expanding and learning. Anyway, what I want to do is for you to see the everyday average, because if you guys know this, I am working on the Cot Settlement, and it is my nonprofit that I started. I mean, I long ago started it. Honestly, back when I was 19, the concept came to me. Now, of course, I've fleshed it out quite a bit in the latter years, but yeah, but I thought, you know, I have that year of last year, I was like, I don't really want to do YouTube anymore. I don't want to do it, like, and I still have this sense of like, I still have this sense of of not wanting to do it, but also doing it because, like, these are the moments of me, like, when I've not got my Beatrix Potter room done, or don't have the foundation complete, like the buildings erected, the stone wall done, all of that kind of thing. I want you to see it before. Like this is like a documentary, like a documentary. And because how often do you see, like, that's the reason, like I was saying, that I think if you've ever watched like Gary Vaynerchuk, like he'll talk about he's an entrepreneur, but like what about me, or a little girl in Florida that has a farm, and she's trying to start a nonprofit, and she's doing things that isn't like the norm. You know what I mean? Like I'm working on being a, author and illustrator, and reinventing myself, so to speak. Sort of, not sort of, yeah, actually I am. And so, like, what does that process look like? Because, we have processes of like home renovation. We've got all that. Like, but but this is more of lifestyle. You know what I mean? So I thought, well, Gary has always talked about it, like in his books, and he does it. He's a full living example of that, of like documenting your life, documenting what that process looks like when you failed in an endeavor and you didn't quite land on your feet. You know what I mean? Like you just got shoved under a rock or whatever. It's important to share those things. And so, like, when like in the past, and it might happen in the future too, but that's the beauty of it, is not editing and taking out things to make it look appealing for television. I think that several years back, no one would have been interested in that. Now, maybe not interested in it to this day either, but I think there's a fascination with it, because not only is Mermaid like mixes between the worlds, you know what I mean, but also like what's that really like on like a level of like normalcy. You know what I'm saying? Like me being a mermaid is like normal thing, but it's not a normal thing for the average Joe or Jane. You know what I mean? So I know I ask that all the time. Like, you know how like people say like, or you know what I mean? I don't understand. Like maybe I've always said that too, and it's just because now I speak in this accent. And listen, don't judge me, because judge your pants, because I'm still working on it. I'm saying, like, I don't live in Britain, and so it's, I don't have many people. I don't have any people, should I say, not many, any people to talk to me in the mother tongue. And so the only person I have to talk to is my teacher. And so yeah, and he's on, UK time, and so I'm always like missing him, because it's, what is it, like 5 hours ahead of me, I think it's 5 hours ahead of me anyway, and he doesn't work on weekends, which is totally understandable. Hello, shout out to Elliot, I love you. And but anyway, don't be judgy pants, because I'm trying to do my best, and I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna nail it. You watch. You're gonna be like, oh, she isn't from England. I would have thought she was. Yeah, you're gonna get that way. I promise. I'm just teasing you. Anyway, so yeah, I thought this was brilliant. And I want to make it like so beautiful, you know what I mean? Like I want it to be like a Downton Abbey. You know how like they have that, but I want it to be in the way that I would do it. Does that make sense? Um like my opening, like it was be like airy fairy, but not like magical, mystical, Harry Potterish. You know what I mean? Like I love Harry Potter as far as J.K. Rowling. Like I never read the books or anything like that, but I like her as an author. I think she's bloody brilliant. I love her story. Like I've listened to so many of her interviews, and like excerpts and stuff like that, but that she's written in magazines, or people have written up about her, and I love them. She's very inspiring. But like I said, I want it to be like a very like ethereal type of thing, And but also, I know what I'm thinking in my head, but it's hard to like portray to you. So let's have a go and we'll see what I can come up with, because I don't know lots about, video and things like that, but I'm learning and I'm capable, because I know there's nothing that I can't do, especially with Sawyer being on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, he took a pisser and was like, "Yeah, I'm out, mom. I'm gonna ditch out on you a couple years early in advance." It's like, but thanks for letting me know you're gonna croak. And that sounds odd, like that I tease about that, but like we all, like, I know that you're never dead, really, are you? No. And also, I think he gets a quite a good kick out of it, because it's my way of coping, but it's also a way of knowing that, like, it's all okay. It's all okay. We're okay here. So yeah, like, I just woke up. I've been writing for the last like 3 hours, and yes, I'm gonna go have me a cup of tea and pop the kettle on, and also I think I'm going to work more on Sawyer's. I'm working right now on the format of Sawyer's book. Like, I've got the whole thing written, I've edited it. Now I'll have to do a bit more editing, and that's to be expected. But as far as like, I'm doing my layout now, right? Because I'm self-publishing on Amazon, and so you have to do all of that yourself unless you hire it out. And so this would be a good, like, also informative for people that maybe are writing or self-publishing their own book. Like, because if you write your own and illustrate your own books, then you've got to do all the like technical stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got to do all that on the computer. And so this would be also quite helpful to do that. Now, I'm not going to do like a DIY, or like what do they call it? Excuse me, like a tutorial or anything like that. But if you read my blog, I think you could pretty much gather what I mean. It's self-explanatory, is it not? Yeah, they tell you how to do everything, and it's pretty. I mean, you just have to have the confidence in yourself to understand that there's nothing that you are not capable of doing yourself. You don't have to hire lots of these things out, where a lot of people think, "Oh, I can't do that," or "I can't do that." Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And you will do it. Just be confident in yourself. Know that there's nothing that can stop you from doing anything that you so desire. That is the thing I want. And that's another thing that I want people to understand, is like, this mermaid calling, so to speak, is like me inspiring women to understand that there's nothing that they cannot do. And you don't need me to even be that avenue for telling you. You might pick up a few here and there's of things that might inspire you or something like that. And that will lead you on. Maybe I'm your little vehicle to lead you on to your next vehicle. And so I'm never like so pompous to believe that like you have to hear and need to hear everything that I'm saying because I'm such a wise person. No, fucking who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? That's a little bit, brash, but yeah. So what I'm saying is, I want to start this and let's see where it goes. Now, look, I don't have like an intro. I'm just like doing it off the cuff, because what's going to happen is eventually this will pick up momentum. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm doing it with the right spirit, and I'm doing it with a love of it, because I want to share my story, and especially like maybe I'll tell things about that's like happened throughout the year. Like, I write it on my blog, but also would love to share it on video so that people can hear me or listen, especially like the process of like what it's like to lose a child to being murdered, and all that. And like, I'm sure, I'm not quite sure if you want to know like the nitty-gritty details of it, but like the things that happen, or like in the process of that, because I call it a process of grief, because what happens is I was able to, you know, not I was not succumb to feeling like just dreadful for the rest of my life. Like, I might as well just die now, like I have a reason to live. And not only that, but I want to live it with gusto, like not just like barely existing, like, oh, poor wretched Raquel, she lost her child. Like, I know I'm not different than many people that have experienced this, or even worse than me. I mean, worse, I would have to say it would be like for me, and I don't know it, but like knowing that I had a child that was like kidnapped, and never knowing if we're never finding a body, like that would be something. Could I endure that? I don't quite know. But yeah, actually I do know it, because you can. There is much. The human spirit is absolutely tenacious and strong, and we count ourselves short too often, especially as women, where we become docile and like, oh, I can't handle it. Yeah, you can. You fucking can handle it, and you will. Do it with an amazing sense of class and grace. And maybe I don't sound quite so classy when I'm using profanity, but you get my drift, right? Like, you understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we can do it. And so this is like my first little like piece of like my documentary that I'm starting, like a little series, and it's going to be called, I want to say it might be, I don't know what you think it should be called, Mermaid Tales, something like tales, and TALES, like the tales, like how I'm writing my books, the tales of whatever series. So I want to like follow along with that as well, and make it like a smooth transition. So let's see what happens. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning and a lovely weekend. Are you going to have a fab weekend? I'm so excited for weekend. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day, and I will speak to you very, very soon. I hope you're doing well. Leave in the comments, are you doing well? I know it's been quite a long time. I've missed you. And anyway, I'm most affably yours until my next swim, which might be quite a long time yet. Goodbye. Ciao.